30, so we can start. Hi, my name is Dr. Hyun-Kyung-Ju, and I am Assistant Professor in Counselor Education and Co-Coordinator of School Counseling Program. So we'll start our information session we're often this session by honoring the First Nation of Ireland, Oniwa. And today's session will be led by student representative in our program, and we have faculty in our program here to answer your questions. So in our program, there are 4 different specializations. We have school counseling, career counseling, rehabilitation counseling, and NCRC, so marriage, conflict, family counseling. So each faculty here and other faculty will review your materials and also interview you if you're selected for the interview process.
There's lots of seats over here.
So yeah, like we can introduce ourselves. I can go first. So I'm Dr. Hyun-Kyung-Ju, and I am in the counseling program. And we will speak a little bit about our research. So I'm doing research on school climate, bullying, and connectivity. So I'm doing research on different reporting behaviors and bystanding behaviors in different situations, and how we can empower bystanders that they can be supporting victims of the bullying.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sang-Min Park. I'm program coordinator and assistant professor in the career counseling program. And one thing I would like to mention to you is we are recording this orientation session for some students attend today. So please don't mind, there's an iPad recording us, not me. So my research interest is holistic development of humans, and would focus on career development and how culture impacts an individual's career decision-making and career development. And the population I'm interested in: international students, Asian, and women.
And can you hear well if you use this microphone?
It's kind of hard to hear.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, much better. Okay, so I am Dr. Michelle Marr. I'm in the rehabilitation and counseling. I'm the program coordinator and faculty. And my research interests are on exercise behavior for people with disabilities, multiculturalism, and sports psychology.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Vita Rivas. I'm the newest faculty member here. It's my first year here at Sac State. I came from University of Colorado Springs, not terribly far. I am an assistant professor in marriage, couples, and family counseling, and my research area is addiction counseling and implementing best practices with co-occurring disorders and marrying marriage and family with addiction.
Hi, I'm Dr. Carly Scarton, and I'm in school counseling. And most recently, I've been researching the role of school counselors in best supporting transgender students. And I'm also working on a qualitative study and researching sense of purpose among master's level counseling students.
Good evening, buenas tardes. My name is Dr. Rose Burunda. I'm the oldest member of the faculty. I don't know how that happened. My research interest is deconstructing white supremacy and studying of the alliances of people of color and white humanists and the beautiful work that we do when we work together. So I have a lot of fun with that. Is there anything else we were supposed to say? No, that's it? Okay, who's next?
Okay, so from now, Student Counseling Society will lead this session. So they are 30 year in the program now, and second, and then some other students will join after their class. So they went through the same process, and they are in program now. And they're Michaela is ready to graduate next May, so they can share their tips. So that's why we invite them to lead this session, and faculty will answer your questions. And especially if you have specific questions to each specialization, faculty in that specialization will be happy to answer those questions.
So after there are PowerPoint slides, there will be question and answer sections, so you can ask questions at that time as well.
Hi, my name's Elena, and as she said, I'm the second year in this program, so my specialization is school counseling. And I'm in the Student Counseling Society, which will give you some more information on at the end of the information session. Yeah, so.
Please excuse the baby. I'm Michaela, and I am a third year school specialization, and I'm the president of the Student Counseling Society. So I was the one emailing some of the people who sent emails, so hopefully you guys all made it here tonight. But Elena's going to start.
I guess I'm going to start. Okay. So on the agenda, we're going to go over the application process. So the overview, the requirements for the university, and also programmatic requirements. The timeline that you should expect everything to happen, and then information if you do get admitted following that admissions, information about Student Counseling Society, and then we'll have question and answer. So application process overview. This is a lot of information on the site. It will be posted also on the website, so if you guys are like frantically writing down notes, you don't need to do that if you don't want to. So you're first going to complete the application to the university. So you're going to go complete the graduate school application on Sac State to the university. Once you complete that, you're going to receive a student ID. And then you're going to actually use the student ID to help you with the programmatic application. And so it is, I will say this, it is important to do this soon, just because it does sometimes take up to 2 weeks to get that ID number, which is what you need. And so we'll talk about the official transcripts in another slide, submitting the supplemental applications, and then these links you can use to find the applications, the link to the university application, programmatic application, and then the initiating the recommendation, which we'll talk about later as well, is going to be online too. So, like I said, there are 2 applications that are needed, and this is important because obviously if you're missing one, they're going to dismiss your application. And then we have the deadlines on here, so completing the university application by December 21st of this year, and then getting those official transcripts by December 21st as well. And then the program supplemental application will be by January 14th. Yeah, you have to submit those questions.
If you have an international degree as well, my understanding is that timing slightly different to submit that to OGS?
That's a really good question. I don't know if you know. Do you know?
I do not.
That's a good question. I do remember though on the application. Do you know?
Sorry, also international education. Yeah, they said you need an extra month.
So
Got
an extra
everything
month.
up a month.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're a former Sac State student, you still need to submit transfer.
We're going to go over that. Yeah. Thank you. Good question.
University.
Yeah. So the OGS is where you have to apply first. So you will go to, and this PowerPoint, by the way, is available online after this session. So you don't have to sit here and scribble down little URLs. Like it'll be posted within a few days or something. So yeah, so just FYI. So the CSUS, you have to apply. The application opened on October 1st, so it's live and ready to go right now. So you just apply to the university first, and you have to pay $55, and everything is online now, so you can click on the little calstate.edu/apply link, and you pay the $55 and apply before you do the supplemental application. So the reason you do that is you have to go through and you'll get a student ID number and an email address, and you'll be registered in the system, and then you're going to go through and do the supplemental application. So this is literally step-by-step instruction, so that's why it's really great that this is available online, because when you're going through and you're on to submit to apply to the university, you can use this and, you know, sort of hover back and forth. So you don't have to remember, oh my goodness, where do I click, and I didn't write down all the steps. So, but this is just, for your information, you're going to select the face-to-face delivery format through the Office of OGS, and then there's going to be 4 different programs. You can only apply for one program, and once you get accepted to that program, you cannot change your mind. So if you select career and you apply to the career program, you're going to be in the career program, and if you don't want to be a career emphasis anymore, then you have to reapply the following year and be a school. So if you have any questions on the differences or what each degree will lead you to, tonight's a great time to ask those kind of questions and sort of hash out what you want to do and do some research on it, and just make sure, because you just want to make sure the job that you're looking for is the same degree that you apply for in the program that you apply for. So if you're a returning counseling MS student, then you are just doing the PPS. So that's an option. People have done that. So they went through MCFC, and then they decided, well, I want to work in school. So you have to come back and get the PPS credential, which is only with the school emphasis. So then you select PPS if that's the program you're applying for. Is anyone here returning? Okay, awesome. You're doing PPS? Mm-hmm. Okay, so applicable to you. So only select the PPS program if you've already been through our program and you already have a master's in counseling and you want the PPS. So does everyone emphasize again that you have to apply for the CSU through the OGS before you apply for the supplemental? I think that's made clear on every slide now. I don't want you to make that mistake.
And then one thing I do want to say about, because I'm doing school counseling, and I think Michaela sort of on the same boat with me, is that if you're thinking about school counseling but you don't have any, like substantial experience or paid experience working with children, but you know that's what you want to do, I would say go for it, because I didn't have like volunteer or paid experience working with children, but other experiences that I had, I was able to sort of weave that in there. So a lot of times people will think, oh, I don't meet the qualifications because I've never worked with a kid, but that's just not the case. So I think you have, yeah. Okay, so official transcripts. Non-Sac State students, the transcripts need to be official and sealed, and from every community college or community college or college you've attended. Even if you have a college, your last college that you attended, but you attended 3 community colleges, and that college has all of those community college grades or transfer credits on there, it would still need to be from each individual college. And then this is exactly where you can send it, the Office of Graduate Studies. And you can go ahead and send those, I believe, separately before you submit the application and everything.
I also want to say a lot of times your universities, they do the online thing now, so you can just do the online transcripts, so they'll just send them from the source to the school, so you don't have to go drive down to Southern California to your alma mater and get a sealed envelope and come up here. So just making that clear.
Usually on a web portal, your web portal, whatever, from your college can say to be sent here. And then for Sac State students, so you don't need to submit transcripts to the OGS unless you attended another school after you graduated Sac State or attended Sac State. And then, you do still need to upload your electronic unofficial transcripts with the supplemental application and separate. So official sealed transcripts for the university application, unofficial transcripts for the supplemental application. Question?
If you're a transfer student to Sac State, then will they just use the transcripts that you have on file from your old institution if you're entering
I mean, I would double check. Like, you graduated from Sac State though, right? But you were transferred?
Well, like, I'm graduating.
Okay, but you're going to, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that you need to get separate transcripts, right? Because you're a university student already, like they have your official, to transfer, they had to get official copies of your transcripts, so that's not applicable. So if you graduated undergrad from Sac State, then you're considered a Sac State student, even if you transferred. Is that, okay.
So the way I'm reading that is you have to provide your official, and then you have the supplemental, and then you have to do unofficial also?
Yeah, so because they're two completely separate applications.
Okay.
So they don't really communicate with each other in a sense of, the supplemental, they don't know that you have your official transcripts on file. So you would need to then, provide, but they can be unofficial for the supplemental part.
The unofficial, is it the Sac State unofficial?
It's, yes,
Sac State unofficial?
if you graduated from Sac State.
Okay,
If
or
not,
if you have, you could, she hasn't posted yet, but she's completed requirements,
yes.
and you will have your degree before you start.
I believe that there's an option in here when you're doing your application that you haven't graduated yet, and they'll be notified and send your official transcripts over. So you just submit your unofficial transcript. Yes, yeah. And so just to clarify too, like back to the non-Sac State students, because after my first year of college, I went home and took one community college class during the summer. And so that, even though I had that transferred to my university that I graduated from, when I applied to the program, I had to get an official copy of that one summer class and sent it away. So just be aware of that just because you graduated and they combined, you still have to get your individual transcripts from all of your universities you attended.
So my question is kind of what you were just talking about. So after I graduated from Sac State, I went back to community college a few years later and just took some classes for fun.
Yes.
So will I need to do the submit transcripts unless you attended another institution? Like, does that apply?
Yeah, so you'll be a Sac State student, but then you'll also have to send the transcripts from the community college that you attended after.
Okay.
So you can submit your unofficial because OGS has record that you graduated from Sac State.
Right.
But you have, if you're using additional classes, then you need to submit that official transcript to the university.
Okay. And should I send the official transcript, the transfer ones from before I transferred to Sac State, I went to a different community college, right?
No, if you
Okay.
transferred them before you got your undergrad degree, then you don't have to transfer them
Okay.
again. But if you took a class after you got your bachelor's, then you need to transfer them.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you just want to make sure at some point Sac State has your official transcripts from all colleges.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're going, my daughter's gonna graduate in the spring,
Okay.
and she took community college classes too, because she said in Baltimore?
Yes, she's taking them like concurrently with her.
Yes, yes.
Then yes, I think we would send them.
You can always double check with OGS too to make sure that they have those official transcripts on file. If you can't remember if they're being sent over or whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's better to have extra copies of your transcripts than no copies of your transcripts. So if you're sort of in that gray area where you're not sure, then I would just prepare for that, like if they're taking them concurrently. So, yeah.
I've been out of school for so long, but just a technical question. How do you upload electronically?
So on the application, it'll it'll prompt you, right? So if you have your, if you get your unofficial transcripts from your colleges that you attended, usually you can pull up electronically, you can save them to your computer, and then you just upload them from the application.
As like a PDF.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, if you pull up your unofficial transcript right now, like through our student center.
Then you can directly general that.
Yes,
You
but
need
you
to
mean, you mean unofficial like the unofficial documents? Or
I
do you
don't
mean?
know if my school have that electronic, and I've been in school for 16 years, so.
You may contact your school and ask if you can have a file. And this unofficial transcript is for us, that we can review your material early. So when you come back in January, we want to start with your material early, then like we hear from OGS
OGS. So that's why we can have sense of how your GPA is. So yeah, you can contact your school and ask if you can have unofficial transcript.
Okay. Thank you.
I took 5 classes abroad, and when I emailed her to get my official transcript, she told me that they didn't do unofficial. But in like my portal, I have kind of a layout of what I took. So can I just take like a picture of that and download that to the unofficial?
Yeah, I would assume.
Yeah, and if you have the grade on there and your GPA, then that would be okay for the unofficial.
I don't think it has the GPA, but it has the grade.
Worst case, get an official sent to yourself and just keep it.
Okay, because I already have the official for the official that we get to turn in. So should I just possibly do another official as my download?
Yeah, you can order another official transcript and just open it, and it's automatically unofficial once you open it.
Okay.
So you can just use that and photocopy it.
Okay.
That would be fine too.
Thank you.
Okay, so just to reiterate, so I'm a non-state student. So I went to San Jose State, and I went to community college. So what I'll do is have to electronically send my official transcripts for the university application first. Right? And then for the supplemental one, I have to upload the unofficial.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. From all colleges.
From
Yeah.
all, okay.
Yeah.
The unofficial to upload, is that the last 60 units?
It's the last 60 semester units or 90 quarter units. So, but they want them all, but they're gonna only calculate your GPA, that 3.0 requirement is from the last 60 or 90 units that you took. So especially if you went to a community college maybe after you graduated to, and you got some awesome A's and you wanna throw that in there, make sure that you are including those because they go from the most recent date back 60 or 90 units depending on if it's quarter or semester.
So if I'm graduating in spring and I'm a second student, do I still upload the unofficial that I'm not completed yet?
Yeah, that's okay. They'll go off of what you have thus far, and then they'll double check after you graduate to make sure that you still meet that GPA requirement.
And I don't need to get my other schools, like I went to community college
Right.
and transfer.
Right.
They have it all
Right.
here.
Again, they should, but for everybody, just double check.
Where would I double check at?
Just the OGS office.
Okay.
Yeah, you can call them or go in there, or they have an email, I think their email's online.
Okay, so what if you graduated from Sac State but took some classes during the time that you were here this summer, like at a community college?
Did you have them transferred and they're on your official transcript when you graduated?
I don't remember.
Okay, so I would check your unofficial transcript, or you can pull up on your student center, you still have access. So on your unofficial transcript, if they're listed there, then they're already on because they won't add them to your transcript unless they've gotten official copies. So, but if you don't see them on your unofficial transcript, then you would need to have them sent over officially and added.
If you, in terms of calculating your GPA, if you have, let's say, a 2-year master's already, and will that be what they base it on, or will they also take into account the new bachelor's?
That's your highest. Your most degree.
Okay.
Yeah. Did we get everyone?
Good questions. Okay, so this is the application process for the supplemental requirements, so to the program.
Before we talk about supplement, because that's the most important part.
So as they said, there is two application process, CSU apply and supplemental application. And CSU application is kind of like the basic thing that you need to do. So in CSU apply, they will ask a lot of questions about ask you to put your GPA or ask you to write about personal statement like that. In CSU apply, just put NA or C supplemental. You do not need to spend whole time typing in CSU apply because supplemental application is a part that we as a faculty will review and evaluate you. So again, in CSU apply, you do not need to write essay over there or put numbers in your GPA because it takes a lot of time. So just put NA or C supplemental in your CSU apply. So supplemental application is the most important part that we will review, and this will be used for your evaluation.
So for CSE Apply, it also asks you for your experience. Would we not include that since we're turning in a resume?
Yeah,
For
no,
supplemental? So
no.
you don't have, so practically don't include any personal.
You may, but like you can just put NA and it doesn't matter anyway. So like it doesn't impact your
I just
yeah.
don't want to impact my actual application, but it won't impact.
No, because like supplemental application is a part that we read through reading your material.
Can you repeat again what parts you put NA on?
So actually, like when you go to our website, at the very end, there is link that shows a tip that like it says direction, like how you like complete CSU Apply. But I almost like, can you remember like how you complete your CSU Apply?
Yeah, I just kept putting C supplemental. So anything that you know that you're putting in the supplemental, you don't have to put in the OGS because they don't even look at the OGS. They look at the supplemental. Like the OGS is just the formal, you have to apply to the university because the program is in the university. So that's the only reason you're applying to the OGS is because you're gonna be a Sac State student, but you're applying to this program. So everything that matters is in the supplemental application and that's the only thing that's reviewed. So if you put things in your OGS and you don't put them in the supplemental, they're not gonna get read, so.
Speaking of this, so with the Office of Graduate Studies, you're applying to California State University, Sacramento. So you're paying your fee and you're applying officially. So it's just your official application, and then you upload transcripts. So they check those two boxes. They're kind of the overarching body for everything graduate. Now, our specialty, counselor education, we want well-rounded, a certain kind of graduate student, right? So the supplemental application, we want to see, and we're reviewing your resume, your personal statement, your references. We're trying to get a really good idea of your skills, knowledge, skills, self-awareness, and how well-rounded your experiences have been, rather than just knowledge and transcripts. Does that make sense? So think of them as two different components, and we get a heads up on who's coming in, but you gotta go through the institution, because the institution has to know that you're coming. Does that make, they collect your money.
Also, I just want to reiterate that in the spaces where you're going to put non-applicable or NA, and this has happened in the past where students will, you can't submit your application if you don't put something in that box. So don't just leave it blank. Make sure, you'll spend hours sitting there, why am they not accepting my application? You just have to put NA. Something has to go in that field, it's required, or it will not be processed. Is that clear?
So if you graduated from Sac State, you still have to reapply to the university?
Yes.
So
because
it'll
you're
give you a
applying to
whole,
the Office of OGS. So
and
the
it'll
Office
give you a
of
whole new ID number and everything?
No, I
You'll
don't
get the same ID.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
But you have to pay the $55, fee to apply to be a
Okay.
graduate student, yeah.
So on the CSU Apply, that's where you're uploading the transcripts?
No,
Oh, no, you're not uploading any transcripts?
you're not uploading anything in CSU Apply. CSU Apply is just a basic step that you have set link ID that you can apply and move further from there. Yeah, so that you will, however, you will upload unofficial transcript in supplemental application.
Everything is done in supplemental?
Yes.
Yeah.
So CSU Apply, you just follow the prompts and where it's GPA, essay, just say C supplemental and pay your money and submit it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then wait?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you now start doing all this?
Yes.
Okay, so uploading the unofficial transcript was also on the supplemental and not on the obligation.
Correct. OGS want your official transcript to deliver to their office directly. So like you will not upload anything on OGS CSU Apply website. Actually, OGS is acronym for Office of Graduate Studies. So yeah, if we say OGS, that means Office of Graduate Studies. Any other questions?
And you make sure you start on all of this early. If it's an international or you do from a large university or It's been a while, like, for me to get my transcripts, they're on stone tablets. It takes a while to get them, you know, they go up to the high mountain and that sort of thing. So just give them plenty of time to do the hike, okay?
You can actually do that tonight. It will, please do not take too much time on CSU Apply because we will not read materials in there.
And, correct me if this is wrong. My understanding is if you do not have a Sac State ID already, so you didn't graduate from Sac State, you do need to have that ID before you have your official transcript sent so that they can link it to you, so that you exist.
Right, yeah, so you need to do the apply, and
wait
then,
those 2 weeks.
it doesn't, I don't think it takes 2 weeks to get your student ID number.
It could take
Okay.
2 weeks.
Up to.
Before you can have your.
Okay. Yeah, it usually doesn't take a full 2 weeks, but yes, once you're recognized as, as a student, and they know who you are, otherwise they have no file to like put the transcripts in, so, yes.
In other words, once they have your check.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So the link to, kind of tell you which things to omit on the, CSU apply, where's that link at? Where can you find it?
Yeah, I can show you the our website later. Yeah.
Hey, just FYI too, I applied for the CSU Apply, and right now in OGS, they actually have like a statement saying that they're not able to retrieve, so it might take a little bit longer to get your site link.
Okay.
I got that email from OGS.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
I did too.
Thank you for
Yeah.
So again, this is very important process. Supplemental application is the part that we will review. So yeah, if you have any questions about like personal statements or anything, please feel free to ask questions to us.
If there's any kind of problem, we will need to talk to you.
Problem with.
Like with the supplemental electronic uploading, because I've been out of school 16 years, so like you said, it was in the grade. So I mean, I'm going back to school, but if there's any problem with the application process, who do I need to talk to?
They might actually have, like, when you're completing the application, they might have a tech support number on there that you can contact. That would be tech support from Sac State. That would help you navigate through the application.
If any of you have questions, you can just Google CSUS Office of Graduate Studies, start with them, and see if they have everything, and then you can Google us if you have other supplemental questions, any one of us, and just say, hey, I have a question. Wait, is that fair to say?
Yeah.
That is not fair.
It's not Dr. Verona, no?
Step 2, but so for your transcripts, because that's your first concern, Office of Graduate Studies is going to know if they received your official transcripts.
I know paper-wise, I'm good, but electronic and updating, so I'll check with it.
And do you mind what program are you interested in? Like the
I'm probably gonna do family and couple.
So you're welcome to just email me. And you can find all of our information. If you just Google CSUS, MCFC, it'll pop up, and you'll find our information on there.
Okay.
feel free to email her.
Yeah.
Your email is on the website, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm E.Rivas, Dr. Rivas.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I was just curious, are there waivers or like programs that can help alleviate the costs of applying for grad school, just like financial purposes? I just know the numbers are big, so I was just curious if there was access for students who may not be able to financially afford that at that time. Like applying for grad school or applying, yeah, it's like $65 typically. So I was just curious.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's a broad question, sorry.
I'm not.
Just wanted to be all new.
No, as far as I know, they used to have it, they do not have it, that's a few years ago.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Also, we didn't put it on the PowerPoint, but the Student Success Center in Eureka is a really valuable resource So if you might want to write this down, Eureka 437, and it's the Student Success Center. They're more than happy to help with any questions regarding the application. And the person that you would want to contact is Ashley, Ashley, Ciraulo, Ciraulo, Stewart, Stuart. She's amazing, and she would be more than happy to help you through the process.
Actually, I just saw her yesterday.
Oh, you did? See, perfect, you're already on it. Good job.
So I'm just starting to, and so for my ID number, it'll just stay the same, and I just pay the $55
Right.
and we're good.
So you just have to think of it this way, when they graduate you, you're technically no longer,
Oh, yeah.
right? And so you have to apply to the graduate school, so then they would be in
But I'm
state.
still in, I'm not graduating until May, so.
Yeah, but yeah, you keep your email address and you keep your student ID. Yeah.
This isn't about the application process, but I was wondering how many students are admitted into each program.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So you can each student you can answer. So like for school counseling, we'll have 30 students accepted for next year.
And for rehab, we'll have 20.
For career counseling, we're gonna get 25 students.
Oh, I don't know, I'm still new.
25 for it.
25.
You want to know how many people apply? Yeah. For school, I can talk about school. Like we accepted 30, and we received more than 120 applicants. Yeah, so it was quite competitive process, and similar for MCFC. So they had over 100. And
How about career?
25.
How many people apply?
80, 70 to 80 for career.
So for rehabilitation, how many people play?
Pretty competitive. It's usually around 50, 40 to 50.
Any other questions?
I have one that's not necessarily related to this, but, so when I was looking at the psychology department, and then I realized I couldn't get licensed through there, they had a requirement of Psycho 21 and 2.5. Is that the same for these? No. And then, not the GRE.
There's no GRE requirement.
There will be.
Yes.
No prerequisite, no GRE, yeah.
Right.
For all counselor education program, but for school counseling, we'll talk about it later. But for school counseling, we have CBEST, and we accept your score of CBEST or your registration, or we'll also okay with you check you will take exam later. So that's only for school counseling.
Any other questions?
Okay, so
Hold on, we do have one more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is there now going to be a dual specialization provided through the program? I just remember like back in the day there was, and then it was gone, and then.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So they actually asked about dual specialization.
So that's a really good question. So actually that's what we discussed like an hour ago too. So we are in the process of doing paperwork and everything to provide dual specialization. So it's not like really official yet because like we are having meetings and with OGS to make it happen. But it will happen when you enter the program.
And what would that look like, just, I guess, theoretically?
So you will apply to one specialization, and then if during your time here you decide that you want to dual specialize in something, you will have to complete that specialization first. and then you have to apply to the other specialization. So it's not guaranteed that you would be accepted, but you will apply, just with everybody else. And then it would be about a year, year and a half on top of the 3 years. Yeah.
And the reasoning for dual specialization, I think it's changed. The reasoning for the dual, and you'll learn more about this, I don't want to muddy the waters too much, but that people enter the program, you're eligible for what's called the LPCC, so that if you're going into career or school, MCFC obviously, rehab counseling, you're eligible to do the practice of what many MCFCs already do. Where people would generally want to add on is adding the school specialization, because you have to have what's called a PTS credential to work within the school system. So that's where we generally get people wanting to add on. Now that the other specializations have become much more inclusive and expansive within the licensure that's allowed with the work that our graduates do, you wouldn't want to necessarily add on other specializations. So if I've confused you more, that's okay. Wait till after I retire and then you can ask someone to clarify. Okay? But just kind of giving you a sense about just that. I think the work of the faculty has been to create a licensure system by which many of our graduates, though they might graduate with a degree in MCFC, many of them are getting contracted to work in schools, but not as a school counselor. Many who are graduating with school counseling degrees are working at the university or community college system. So it doesn't always preclude you from moving out to the areas, but if you're going to work in a school, you have to have a PPS credential, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
In terms of specialization, like we are a 3-year program with 60 units, and 45 units are same, like it's core classes to be trained as counselor. It's like same across specialization. But 15 units are different across specialization, so that's kind of difference. So when you decided to have dual specialization through your when your program, you may apply paperwork to us, and we will interview you and see if you fit into our specialization, and we can move from there. So,
are most of the classes in the evenings, or are they during the day, are they on the weekends?
yeah, that's a really great question. So we try to provide classes in many different times that people who work can take in the evening class, and those who work in the evening can take morning class. But usually the most preferred times are 4 to 7. But like there are 7 to 10 classes, and some classes are morning as well.
Perfect, thanks.
So, if I wanted to work in a university setting or a community college setting, will I still need the PPS?
We only need that for K-12. But if you ever want to work in K-12, you can't without the PPS. So, but you can work in a community college setting with a school counseling. So that's sort of, yeah.
So for her situation, she will apply to the career counseling.
It's our choice, but so people.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Yes.
My question is, if I want to work at a university or a community college, or maybe have options to work through K-12, that will be school counseling.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So yeah, so like I didn't mean to. That's a really good question, because many students actually think about it. Oh, I really want to work with community college students, and then I also want to work K-12. So if you want to work with K-12, you need to apply for school counseling, because like career counseling, they cannot have PPS. So like you need to apply if you really want to work with K-12 students.
So school counseling will allow me to work with K-12 and university and community college.
Yeah, that's true. So many of our graduates, they work in community college or university setting.
I think I was just a little confused when I was reading the overview.
Any other questions?
So
So I'm looking into the MCFC program. I want to kind of do like a dual type job. I want to work at a community college as well as have a private practice. Would that allow me to do both with the MFT or MCFC?
So I'm new to California,
Okay.
so this is my caveat. Generally speaking, they like school, career, and clinical, and it depends on where in the institution you're going to be working. So if you're in like academic advising, that's going to look different from if you're in the career center, from if you're in the clinical, like in the counseling center. So each one of those could look a little different. The ADA office could look a little bit different. So it depends. Any one of them could be helpful.
It sounds like you would be more career, and then with the LPCC, do a private practice on the side.
Okay.
It's a good opportunity. I was actually interested in being an ADA, like the SSWD counselor. Which program do you recommend for that?
That would be rehabilitation counseling.
Okay.
And
Great.
there's also a lot of overlap between career counseling and rehabilitation counseling.
Okay.
Specific to if you want to work in a university setting.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks.
Does it matter how long ago you passed the CBEST? Like I passed it back in like 2001, 2000.
That's an excellent question, and we would love to get back to you.
CBEST is good forever. Yeah. There's no deadline or anything on the CBEST.
Yeah, the same.
On the state's website, it says that I passed it.
It shows past that would.
Yeah, I was a liberal studies student and I got my bachelor's and they said they differentiated a CBEST and CSET. CBEST are the ones that are good forever, you don't have to retake them at all. CSETs you do, but you don't need CSET here, so.
As we're talking about different specialization, is there any question about each specialization that we can answer?
I've heard if you have a degree in social services, a social worker, then all you need is an internship in order to get your MFD certificate. Is that true? If you have a master's degree in social work, can you do just the internship of MFD in order to get the certification, or do you need to go and receive a master's in MFD in order to be certified?
Let's check in after this.
Any other questions?
Okay, so for the supplemental application, this seems a little bit new from when I applied, but so basically what it's saying is that make sure that you've assembled all of your documents before you start the application, because you're not going to be able to save it and then come back to it. So just make sure that you have all of your essay, resume, everything, ready. So this is the checklist, and we'll go over these in detail. So for the supplement application, you're going to need your resume with relevant experience, a personal statement, essay, your unofficial transcripts like we talked about, and then CBEST only for individuals wanting to apply to the school counseling specialization. And then you're going to be required to provide 2 letters of recommendation.
Is it 2 or 3 letters? It's 2 letters of recommendation.
We got it from the two.
Okay. And just to clarify, everyone please note that they specifically have asked for the documents to be saved as such, so that it doesn't say like, Kayla Zimmerman resume, Elena, just streamline it, and just, one of the big things is like following instructions, and like, do what they say, and then that is looked highly upon. So, make sure that you save your in PDF as they requested, and you save the file names like specifically on here for you.
So for the school counseling wise, the CBEST itself is not required before you apply, so.
You don't have to pass it before you apply.
Right.
But you have to show proof that you've signed up for, right?
or that you will apply.
Also, it's okay to just check, you will take it later.
Right, so in terms of applying for that one, would you put anything in
No.
that slot? No? Okay.
Yeah. We.
Oh,
So, yeah, no, it's okay to check, you'll take later, and it will not impact your
For the request confidential references, so you go to the link and do you have to like send a live link to like the people who are doing your request, recreation letters? How does that work?
There, yeah, and we'll have a slide for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you check the actual scores on each section of the CBEST, or do you just check to see if it was passed?
Yeah, it was just like the one page thing that shows your score and test.
Okay.
It's like the summary.
Okay, so are the scores relevant to like how you're looked at, or is it just the test? Okay.
Just test. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. It's for PPS layer. It really doesn't matter.
Okay, so your resume. So the experience can be paid or volunteer. It's looked at with the same amount of weight. But it's related to counseling, and it is required to be considered for admission. And it's about your experience is evaluated on frequency, currency, and relevance to the field and the specialization that you're applying for. And it should be with diverse populations, obviously clearly relevant to counseling. And then, so we provided some examples. So teaching, coaching, instructional aid, tutoring, after-school program, Peace Corps, camp counseling. So those are just various examples. Again, it doesn't have to be a paid position.
I have a question. Is there a page limit? Because I know like for certain jobs, like they say it's limited to one, but mine is not. Mine is a little bit more.
Mine was 2.
Yeah, I don't think there's a limit.
Listen, this is the time to show yourself off.
Right.
So like throw it all in there, don't be bashful.
Yeah.
Okay, so more like a CV type, it's okay, even going back further than 10 years.
Yeah, if you've got great experience that you want to showcase, like this is the time.
Yeah, relevant experience, yeah. So your personal statement, so this does have a limit on it, no more than 2 pages, double space, size 12 font. And then the personal statement should address three things: the experiences or factors that have led to your decision to apply to the counselor education program, characteristics you believe you possess to enable you to succeed in the program, and then your professional interests.
So the personal statement for me was really important because I didn't have any child, paid related experience. I worked in the corporate setting for 10 years prior to coming. So my personal statement, I really laid it out, like why I had this passion for counseling, why I wanted to be a school counselor, why I think I would make a difference, and the next essay is also how you can draw on, we'll talk about how you can draw on your non-maybe counseling experience and incorporate it to fulfill a counseling specification. So, but your personal statement really make sure that you express like your desire and your characteristics, and hopefully that's what's going to lead you to sift you from someone else to get an interview, out of the 100 people that you can be brought in. So I just.
So this is one of the most important material that you put a lot of effort in, because after, as a faculty, we will read your personal statement and we want to feel that, oh, you are really interested in our program and each specialization. So let's say if you're applying for a school counseling program, we want to read your passion, to work with children and youth, and how your previous experience or your dispositions fit yourself as a future school counselor. So this is a material that you really show your passion and interest in each program that you're applying to.
Do we need to indicate our name or indicate that's a personal statement on the paper at all, or do we put some typing?
What I did was I did a header. So I just put on the header so it didn't interfere with the length of the page. And I got in. So,
that was you?
sorry if you already said this, I may have zoned out, but are you both saying that you did have experience working with children?
I didn't have paid or volunteer experience, but I had personal experience. And then, like Michaela said, I just really delve into my passion about working with children. And so really from those other experiences, not very traditional experience.
Could you expand a little bit on what you guys are looking for under the professional interests, as far as what you would write about? I mean, obviously counseling in whatever field you are, but how specific are you looking?
Like for me, one of my interests, like one of the things that really pushed me to go to school counseling was the school to prison pipeline. So that's like an interest of mine, and high school students and that sort of thing. So if you have anything that is a professional interest, or you really know you want to go work in a community college setting and you want to help migrant students get into community college, then put that in there. You don't necessarily have to have professional interests. Hopefully you've thought about like the reasons that you want to be a counselor and what you want to do after you become a counselor. And so that's kind of what they're looking for. Like, what population are you looking to serve, or the reason that you want to be a counselor. That's kind of.
So you're not looking for us to have our thesis already laid
No,
out?
no. Okay. And there's no thesis in this program, so no worries.
Just to interrupt a little, anybody else need to sign in?
Question. So if you're really passionate about like bullying and like the high school population, then you could write about that underneath the professional interest.
Yeah, I would definitely talk about that, that would be.
And school counselor's role in bullying situation, like that. So can you relate that to yourself and the profession?
So like, could you draw on like your personal experience?
Totally.
Yeah, you can be open and honest in your statements. It's very we keep confidential, so like you can be open and honest.
Is there anything that you see as like the biggest mistakes on your personal statement, something that we didn't spend time talking about?
That's a good question.
I think we want to know more about you, like not about like what, like we really want to know about you, yourself, and your experience, and how you can have a positive impact on the population that you work with. Yeah. And
So, as Dr. Scarlett said, why you're applying here, I've been here since 2002. I want to have people in my classroom that are going to make a difference. And I want to have a sense of your passion for people. I want to have a sense that you are going to enhance the nature of what we do in the classroom. And be a resource for others, and not be there passively, sitting there waiting for somebody else to be the first to take a risk. So I like people who are not only teaching their classmates, but they're teaching me something too. So with that, it's a sense that, and I recognize that many people come from large universities and campuses where you've had a professor, maybe, more likely maybe a teaching assistant, and a lecture hall of 300, 400, and so you really don't have a relationship with one another. This is a different program, it's a different experience. And when we graduate people, we expect that you're going to make a difference. And it doesn't just start at graduation, it starts with your capacity to start engaging one another differently than often what society expects us to do.
So I would encourage you to open up with just understanding that you have the desire for counseling in general, and then zero in more on the specifics. So for example, you having, and I think I can speak on behalf of all the programs, to have the core counseling demeanor, a humanistic approach, being an agent of change, empathy, basic core counseling skills, and then get a little bit more into perhaps with rehabilitation. You would speak about a certain population that you would like to serve or assist,
and really hone in on what that looks like. Perhaps you would want to comment on some of your research interests, and that for rehab, that's what we look for. And then also just thinking about, so rehabilitation counseling is specific to people with disabilities, but that's in a wide array of contexts. So sometimes it gets a little bit confusing when you're applying to graduate school. We understand that you may not have the plan all laid out, but to provide some sort of insight about, and this is where the professional interests come in, I think it's really important just because it shows that you're at the next level. So in undergraduate, you understand that you're taking a wide array of classes, but when you come to graduate school, the expectations are that there is a passion there, and we want to, assist you through that process. But we don't expect you to come in with the plan all laid out. So I would just start with your basic counseling skills or what led you into the field, and then zero in on program specifics or the population that you would like to assess.
Okay, so this is the essay prompt. This is an actual essay. So this is a one-page, no more than one-page, double-spaced, 12 font. Please describe your experience in working with, serving, or socially engaging with diverse persons or populations. Summarize your assessment of the quality, quantity, and nature of these experiences. Summarize your strengths and challenges in these relationships, as well as the strengths and challenges of diverse others in forging a relationship with you. So this is really a great opportunity. This, for me, was where I utilized my work experience and put it in my essay, because I didn't have the kid aspect, but I did have a lot of experience working with diverse populations and maneuvering that and having challenges met. So take some time and really think about it, but concisely think about it, because it's only one page, and that's really short when it's double spaced. So that is the essay. Does anyone have any questions on that? Pretty standard, right?
I feel like unofficial transcripts. Okay, so one set of unofficial transcripts, like we stated, for the supplemental applications, they do not replace the official transcripts. You're going to need both official and unofficial. There is a GPA requirement of 3.0, and I think Michaela explained it a little bit earlier about the last 60 semester units or 90 quarter units. So that's what they're going to look at. And then if you don't meet this GPA requirement, you won't be considered for admission. And I know with people who haven't met it, what you can do is attend community college classes to try to get that GPA up. That's a solution to that. So, any questions?
If we're taking community college classes because our GPA didn't meet the 3.0 minimum, how does that factor in? Do we add it to our previous GPA, or do we just send it the transcripts?
You're doing it currently? Yes, I believe that you would send in the transcripts and they would be notified. So they're going to take all your transcripts together and do little magic numbers with that.
In regards to transcripts, when it comes down to the CSU apply application, it does ask us to cut in our grades and courses that we've taken. Do we need to do that for that? I know we don't need to do the essay, but the transcripts, do we need to do that? So for academic history.
You mean CSU apply, right?
Yeah.
So for CSU apply, you do not need to put any number in GPA section as well, because it's a lot of work to put number. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you need to insert class by class or something like that.
No, so yes, so you just put NA for that section.
Thank you.
How much does the GPA play a part of the process? Because I'll onto some programs and say higher the GPA, the more chance to get into it, score-wise. I don't know if that happens here.
Yeah, that's a really great question, and I can answer in another fact. Do you want to answer? Yeah. So it's one of our considerations. So we let's say there's a person who is like 4.0 GPA but doesn't have any caring for others, like doesn't have any passion for counseling, and there is a person who has 3.3 maybe, and then have like passion and caring and empathy. I would select like the later one. So it's just one of our considerations. So we want person with like compassion and caring for others.
So would you say it's like kind of like a tiebreaker kind of deal? Like if you have like two similar people?
I would, I guess I can speak on behalf of everyone. We really look at a holistic approach. So that is just one component. The GPA is just one piece of the puzzle. That being said, if your academics are not, is not your highest aspect of your application, I would take the time, not me, but you, would take the time to highlight other areas of strengths and put a lot of energy into that to make it more of a balanced approach. I don't think that any of us would look at an application and automatically say no way if they don't have a specific, if they're not, 4.0. So again, just be mindful that if it is at a level that's a little bit lower, then highlight your experience or your essay. Put a lot more energy into what shows that you do demonstrate that competency to perform well in graduate school, because that's really what we would anticipate and expect as well.
And you can also like explain in your personal statement. Let's say you had one semester that many things happens in your life that you couldn't focus on academic on that semester. You can explain about that, and we will read and we'll take consideration of that as well. So yeah, again, GPA is more so like we see that if this person has potential or ability to follow up the graduate level course. So it's one of our considerations.
If we are graduating from Sac State in December, when we're uploading our unofficial transcripts, should we wait until this semester is included if we feel that it's going to help with our GPA?
Yeah, so it will be your decision. So like if you feel like that your current GPA is fine, you can go ahead and send official transcript. But you feel like you're like adding this current semester is great if you expect your GPA will be increased a lot, and then it will help you. You can wait. So we said like January 14th, like it's okay. Like it's okay for us for OGS to have the official transcript, but like no later than January 14th. So we still have little room at there from December to January deadline, but no later than January 14th.
Just out of curiosity, how many people are offered an interview?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I think for a school, maybe 60, 70, so we accepted 30 students this year, and we interviewed 60 to 70 students.
So we won't be interviewing that many. So maybe around 40 to 50. We talked about the CBEST, and so if you do have your score, you can upload it with the supplemental application. So for your letters of recommendation, there's going to be, 2 letters of recommendation. You will initiate the recommendation request through the reference request form. So if it's the same process, then the individual will receive an email, right? And then they'll be able to do it on there. So separate request for each reference. After you initiate the request, receive a confidential link to use to upload their confidential letter. So they're going to receive a link in order to upload that. It is recommended that one of the references be from somebody who observed the applicant's graduate level academic potential, current or former instructor as an example, other reference from a person who observed the applicant's relevant experience in a diverse setting, like a supervisor at work or a volunteer, And then these letters of recommendation need to be received by the date January 14th.
For those of us who have been out of school for over a decade, jobs. Yeah, I mean, both of mine were from work, so I didn't have any professors because I had been out of school. And they wouldn't know me anyway, right? Yeah. So I used my work supervisor and people that I worked with. So thank you.
I used one of my old professors, like, I was well over 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And where I graduated, he remembered me, and it worked. So if you have rapport with someone that you rapport or have rapport with a teacher.
Can this, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Can this be done before you turn in, like you have to have everything else for the supplemental ready to turn in at once? But can the letters of rec be initiated before you complete, like uploading the resume and essays
Yeah,
and
and I
stuff?
would suggest that because people
To
are
give them
slow
time.
and they,
Yeah.
you know, especially holiday season, like end of the year deadlines, like people are like, yeah, I'll get that for you, and then a week later, you're like, I really needed that like now. So, yeah, please initiate this process like ASAP because people lag and they don't care about your graduate admissions as much as you do. So I would definitely give people enough time, especially if they're gonna go with professors, like they're busy, it's end of semester, you know, yeah. Lots of hands. Okay.
So would it be better, so if I have one from a professor, from, like, I'm gonna use Davis right now, I have one, would it be better for the second one to be like a glowing one from my community college, or like a mediocre one from your university?
I would go with the glowing. I would go with people
Yeah.
who know you the best,
Yeah.
instead of like a generic, like, she was great in my class, that was someone, go with someone who actually like knows you and can speak to your strengths. And they're like, wow, we got this amazing letter. They're not necessarily gonna look at it and be like, oh, well, this wasn't a professor, they don't have a PhD. No, they're gonna, it's the content of the letter and like how well they knew you and what they can speak to. Because really these people are just helping them get a better idea of who you are. So the more people that can sort of speak to all the different facets of your life, that those are the kind of letters of recommendation instead of the generic, like, great student, I'd love to have them, so yeah.
But no friend or a family member.
Can I ask you questions? Is it just a letter, or is it like a letter and questionnaire for them, or just a letter they're submitting?
Just the letter to somebody.
Okay, and then also if, you have a letter of recommendation from someone that's like retired, but you still have the letter, can you not use that anymore because they can't give them the link, they're then as a department?
I think
But
it has
have
to
the letter,
be,
it's like
it has to come from them, that's the,
Yeah.
I think, to, you know,
But
order,
I don't see why you
the
couldn't still
integrity.
send them if they've been a professor, they're just retired and they have, you know, they want to write another recommendation for you, not to wait to use them.
Or give them the old letter.
Supervisor, so I was on.
Yes.
So it's kind of two parts. One part's the letter, but one part is they're doing kind of an anonymous evaluation of you. So you're giving up your rights for them to see whatever they're putting in there. So you want to pick someone that you trust, that they're not going to be like, oh my, holy, this person. You know, so it's two parts. So one part you're uploading a letter that gives us information that fits into that same bracket of are you well-rounded, knowledge you can make your grad program, skills, you have the skills and demeanor and interpersonal growth potential to make it through a counseling program. So you want anyone really that can speak to that you trust that will do the I think it's like a Likert scale of kind of skills and traits, and then they upload a letter.
Also, just keep in mind, we do prefer the more current letters or records. So if you have someone who was gonna, write something from 10 years ago that you were in this class, really, I would let that go. Because we want to see you as you are now. Because we also take into consideration, remember, we're counseling. So we think about people develop and people grow. And so where are you at right now? You're very different than you were perhaps 5 years ago. And that's okay. So the more current it is, not that that's absolute, but the better we have an idea or an assessment of if you're ready for graduate school.
I initially thought it was 3 letters of recommendation, so instead of 2, so are we still able to use that third one, or is it just capped out at 2?
So the letter of reference request form is within the supplemental application, correct? So in that, you said that initially, the supplemental application don't start until you're ready to work on it. That's where I'm like a little concerned, like, so if I go and request?
Yeah, after OGS, CSU apply you, after you receive your link ID, you are good to go to first student and request letters of recommendation.
So you can request the link without starting the application?
That's my concern.
That was your question, right? Okay, yes.
Okay, because it just says you can't save or go back on the application, so I'm just like, okay, I'm a little confused.
Yeah, so that's why start CSU apply as soon as possible, like
just to get the ID.
Yeah, just get the ID. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So, you can't save or go back, is that for like CSU apply?
No, it's a supplemental.
Okay, because when you're doing the stuff, when you're not wanting to finish the supplemental, but you're trying to get the links out to your reference level people, you can do that even if it doesn't save or anything, right?
Right, without starting the supplemental application.
Okay, you're just going in there to send the links out to the people who are ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can send out only to requests or the system, like, does the system keep track of that?
Oh, you mean like if you send it and no one uploads it and you're like, oh, I need to go to someone else? That's a good question. I'm unaware of that.
So you kind of play with it and see what happens when you come back to
So you're the guinea pig and.
Yeah, actually, this is our first time, like, printing everything online, and which is really good. And yeah, this works really good with our program, so we are now like switching everything online. We see it's actually a quarters link that you will click and you will upload everything up there.
Will I know when one of my references is uploaded their letter?
Yes, you will.
You'll get the mail.
So that's a nice way to kind of monitor if you submit a link and then you didn't get that email that says, oh, so Dr. So-and-so received or submitted your letter of recommendation, then that might be where you might want to reach out to that person again or do a different, I don't know if you can delete, and then again, we're new to this as well. I don't know if you can delete that letter or that link and add another one. I'm almost positive you would be able to.
Yeah.
I tried to play with the reference request form today, and if you just go to the website, it has the link kind of in there. So you hit it, you fill it out, you do your 1 or 2 and send it off. So it should be pretty easy and allows for you to do it a couple times, but we'll see.
And then do we have access to see what they said?
That's why it's a confidential link. So that's why you want to vet your person.
You do more for each person.
Quick question, so should we submit the supplemental after both letters of recommendations have been received then?
I think what you should think about is once you have applied to the institution, your file is begun, so do as much as you can.
Yeah. Because regardless if that would be very tricky. If you're waiting for those letters to be submitted before you do your personal statement or supplemental, they may submit it a week before, depending on their schedule. So I would not encourage you to wait for those letters to come before you complete the application. Absolutely not. I would just keep moving forward.
But make sure they fill them out by the deadline.
Yeah.
So that
would be.
Do you have paper version of the application? I want to do the application, look over it, just, check on mistakes before we do the online one?
No. You're going to be spontaneous.
So when someone is writing you a recommendation letter, who are they addressing it to? I've heard that I think addressing to someone specific or?
To whom it may concern. I mean,
Okay. So
is there?
that's pretty standard.
Members of the search committee.
Most people who do this tend to know how to generally do that. So you
Google.
don't have to worry about it.
Okay, my professor.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
That's going to be
at the risk of oversharing, I'm a big fan and major proponent of therapy and counseling. So one of my thoughts was to ask someone in that capacity in my life, not to divulge anything confidential necessarily, but someone who has known me in that capacity as one of my letters of recommendation. Is that just too weird?
Well, if it's a family or friend.
No.
I've seen that before, and I would not recommend it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So we're gonna go through
But this is the part you probably all want to know, because I remember I wanted to know, like, the timeline, screening. So they're gonna go through all of your applications, late January, early February, all the faculty, and they're gonna go through all the packets. So that's when they're gonna be searching. And then you will be reached out for, probably the beginning of February, if they're doing the interviews mid-February. There's not a lot of lead time, so don't think like, oh my goodness, it's February 2nd, they're doing the interviews, February 15th, I didn't get an interview. No, they literally will send a link out and the interviews are next week. So, unless they are different, but, so just don't fret, but, mid-February is when they're doing their interviews, and, yeah, you will come in for a personal interview, and.
And then after, you're gonna have a writing sample, so be prepared for that.
Yeah, so you'll come in for, it'll be a group interview, and then you will be asked to write something on the spot. Like after the interview, go write something, just to make sure that you do know how to write and you're not just spell checking everything. Or, you know, someone's writing it for you, I don't know. Yeah?
On the writing sample, is it going to be timed?
No, I don't, it wasn't timed, is it timed now? Oh, it is timed, okay. Timed, yes.
We will make that decision closer to the interview, but it will be.
But it's not like a 5-part persuasive essay or anything. Don't fret, you're not going into SAT writing, like this is not a, yeah.
Is it pen and paper or?
It is pen and paper.
If you do look bad on it, do you guys like have a course that you could probably take alongside like the first year to kind of help you out? Or is that something that you guys are gonna be like, oh yeah, you need to work on that before you come?
What's your question for
No, just asking if the writing sample isn't maybe the best, is that something would throw them out of consideration, or can they take like a writing class and work on it? Like how, I think they're worried about the analyzing of the writing. Okay.
So she was saying that we don't share the reasons why people didn't get admitted into the program, because it would just be too time consuming. So if you didn't get admitted, then you would know if it was what component it was.
But if you passed, if you're at Sac State and you took the graduate or the junior level writing test, I mean, I'm sure if you graduated with a college degree, you can write, right? The assumption is there, right?
So I read about that test on the website, and I went to school out of state, and I didn't take any type of writing test, so do I need to before I apply?
You don't need to before, but you will, it's one of the, when you're in the program, if you don't have a comparable equivalency, then you can take the writing test, so.
Okay, so you're just gonna look at my essays and how I write?
Yes, yes. And it's a writing sample, not necessarily an essay, so I should just preface that.
So what gets you eliminated? Okay, so recognizing we get over 200 applicants, generally between 200 and 300. What I'm going to tell you is what I used to tell my students when I was a high school counselor. Don't put your eggs all in one basket, okay? And if you get a denial from us, it's not that there's anything wrong with you, okay? And so what I would recommend is that you apply to several universities, okay, several campuses. We're in a position where we want the best students, and so that we're actually looking at who is the best. So if I'm having to read an essay that's riddled with typos, and has, misspellings and use of words and fragmented sentences. It's like, you know what, I don't want that in my class. And if you're not putting your best forward now, you most likely won't do it when you're here in the program or advocating for marginalized communities. So think about the fact that we're asking you to raise your game and to maintain that throughout the program. The same comes for the interviews, for those who do get interviewed, and even for those who end up calling us in terms of the tenor and behavior that we see from people. So it's a sense of how are you presenting yourself and recognizing that if you do get a denial, that it's nothing about you. And because we do have more that we deny than we let in, it's difficult for us to respond to everybody and say, what were your scores, what was this, what was that, because we have students in our classrooms and we're continuing to educate them while we're doing this outside process and bringing in what's now cohort 9, okay? The letters of recommendation tips, I write many letters for people going into PhD programs or getting jobs. Prompt me with, do you remember, Dr. Brenda, when I did this? Or can you speak to this? So that for myself, when I'm reading letters of recommendation, and I know we have people that they come from large universities, so it's difficult to be outstanding, but we read so many that you don't want to sound just like anybody else. So how do I get to know who you are? Was it something that you did, that you stood out and you put yourself at risk to do something that changed the outcome for somebody else's life? Then I remember that. Then I'm like, whoa, this person is already making a difference. I want to meet this person because they're awesome. Okay, that's who I want in my classroom. I want awesome people. I remember when that woman right there interviewed Michaela. I remember saying to myself, I want her in my class. Okay, I've had her 2 classes already, right? Okay, so that just tells you how remarkable on paper and then that interview of how you stand out. So it has to be somewhat personalized because yes, unfortunately, you're competing with 200 and something other people. Minimally, we know at least 200 and something people.
Okay, so whether you're accepted or denied, you will receive an email. It's hard for us to say exactly when you are going to receive it, but it can take several weeks after your interview. And then they admit people on a rolling basis. And so if you have you and your friend applied to the program, your friend might have gotten an email before you. Don't worry, you will receive an email regardless. And then, side note, notify OGS if any changes to your contact information, so we have a way to contact you. So there is a mandatory orientation in August that if you are accepted, you're required to attend. It is a cohort sequence, so the individuals that you'll be taking the same courses with, essentially all the same individuals throughout the 3 years. And it is nice because you establish and build relationships, and you really get great friendships out of it. And then you sort of have that camaraderie, so it's pretty nice. And then registration for new students generally occurs in June.
So I actually have a question regarding being waitlisted, the timeline of it, and the notification of where you are on the list.
What do you mean? Waitlisted for what?
For the program.
Is there a waitlist? Okay, there is a waitlist. I can speak to that. Okay, so you will not know where you are on the wait list. You will just be hanging out. Get an email one way or the other, right? But I think as you get closer to the deadline, right, as more people accept or deny or go to other programs, more spots open, and they'll reach out to the wait list and go in that order. So, does that answer your question?
For classes, are they set up in a way that you are going to get your classes that you
So funny. I've never had a problem getting my classes, but right there at time and I hit enter. But really it's not, it's such a small, so you guys will have, we are cohort 6 and we have a problem if there's more of us because we don't have FT and CFC. So there's 2 sections and multiple sections. So you're less likely to have that problem because they're, especially for your specialization classes, there'll be just one class, so everyone goes to the same one. But I've never had a problem where my schedule is like, I literally can't do that because it's a smaller program and if there's some major issue that you cannot have this time, I've never had anyone not move you or, yeah, but it's not like undergrad, you're not like competing like 600 people.
You have to take those classes that semester.
Right.
It just might be, maybe one section of its whole, so you might have to go at a different time, but still that is rare.
Yeah. Other questions? We'll go here and then there, here and there.
So if you are accepted into the program, are you able to defer? Because my concern is like in-state tuition and where I sit with that. And so, more likely probably the following year based on the tax years and what you have. And so, can you do that, or would you just recommend, put all your eggs into one basket for the following year?
It's hard to hold your spot when it's a cohort, so I think it would be better to wait until you know for sure that you're in state, you're ready to take the spot that's given to you.
But that will be determined by financial aid option regardless, right?
2 years is the cutoff, right? So, but yeah, I don't know about that. To get California residency, you have to be here for 2 years. Prior to, I think the fall is when they go off of, so, yeah. Back here.
From your experience and opinion, are you guys able to do part-time jobs while doing the program?
Yeah, so your first 2 years are just classes, or I should say your first year and a half are just classes. Your second semester of your second year is when you have practicum, and that's a 1-day-a-week commitment at a school site, at a community college site. And that's flexible also depending on your specialization. So if you're a school site, schools are not open in the evening, a K through 12, so you can't go to an elementary school at 7 o'clock at night. But if you are in a community college setting, they might have evening hours. Voc Rehab might have evening practicums. So that kind of depends on your specialization. School, though, you definitely need 1 day, but I kept my full-time job all the way until, full-time job, until this last July. And that's not because I still could work, I just didn't want to anymore. So, but field work, when you get in your last year of school, the last year of the program, you will have field work where you're at your site. And usually you cannot keep a full-time job and do your field work just because it's very hard with your hours. You have to be at the site depending on your units. But
part-time is manageable?
Yes, totally. I would say 95% of the people work in this program, so it's definitely a workable thing.
And I just want to add, so I work full-time, I work full-time the 2 years, first 2 years, and then now in my third year, I actually went part-time and I'm still on my school site, so it's doable. So yeah, I second that. So I worked full-time for the state for my first 2 years, and then just like Michaela, at the end of July, I actually quit because the field study site that I have, I'm there 4 days a week, full-time. So,
Yeah, question?
Your field site being your,
Yes. So depending on your specialization, there are lots of jobs that are flexible depending on your site. But there are people that the job they work at, they can also get their hours. There's a bunch of criteria, but it's definitely not off the table. So depending on where you work and what you do.
What if you're like a faculty employee, you could keep working? Yeah. There's some programs that people who are in our cohort are actually working, they're faculty employees, there's the EOP program,
Career
there's
Center,
the Career Center.
Camp. I mean, there's a lot of people that work on campus in programs, so, yeah.
So it's not like have like a part-time or a full-time or like a 2-year track or 3-year track. It's like one.
Right, you're cohort, so you're on a cohort sequence, so when you just start with, and everyone takes the same. I mean, obviously things happen and people take semesters off, life happens, maybe you need to go part-time, that's an option. For me, I just had a baby in the middle of August and I wanted to graduate with my cohort. So I didn't take time off, I just have awesome professors who let me bring my little baby to class. So I really like, Elena talked about bonding with your cohort and like creating connections, and you're in this program and you'll be in these same classes with these people for 3 years, and it's fun. You get to know everyone. It's a very small, intimate program, and so it's nice to be able to have that camaraderie and like stay with the group.
Basically, it's 3-year program, but you can go to part-time and take a few more years.
Do you guys know anything about scholarships for this program?
For the program specifically, I know there's scholarships like through the university, like, you get through Sac State, like ASI offers a lot of scholarships.
The College of Education in general, their website, there are quite a bit of scholarships, not specific to counselor education, but well, actually, I think there are some for counselor education. There is quite a bit, but I would highly encourage you to get on the website, look around, contact the office. I don't know exactly, Student Success Center, they have a lot of resources, but there's definitely funding available. You just have to seek it out.
So real quick, Student Counseling Society, that's who we are. And Andrea, who's lurking in the corner. So we're the club on campus for grad counseling program. Undergrads are more than welcome. It just tends to not be undergrads. So we, throughout the years, it's an all cohort group. So what's really nice is Elena's cohort 7, and she's now hanging out with us all the time. But we hold fundraisers. We put on workshops throughout the year, mixers, things like that. We have a homecoming tailgate barbecue coming up, an LPCC workshop for those of us who are school who also want to get their LPCC. End of semester potluck, we had an AP workshop, and we just hold, we're doing Glow Zumba, and we also put on the graduation ceremony at the end of we graduate. So, but I would highly suggest like our Facebook page. There's things posted all throughout the year, and especially once you get into the program or not, we post, you can like it, and orientation night will be on there. It's just a great way to get involved. So there's our information here. We have an Instagram and Facebook, and an email. The email is here. The email's on the website too. If you guys ever have any questions about anything about the program, you can email all the time. So.
So I just want to, I think it's fair to just address that at this time currently, our counselor education program, we are not currently KPREP accredited. I want to put that out there in case there is a question about that. That being said, we are in the application to submit our self-study in January, which will hold us to be accredited until July 2020. So I just want to, in case there's any questions or confusions about that, and obviously we don't have that answer to guarantee that KPREP is going to approve us, but we feel very confident about it. So just if there's any questions or concerns about the KPREP accreditation. On a side note, rehabilitation counseling is KPREP accredited as of right now, but that's the only program. So you are going, I just think it's fair to present that information to you before you automatically assume that we are KPREP at this time, okay? Questions on that, KPREP accreditation? Yeah. Yeah.
So if we get into the program for fall 2019 and then we graduate after, if we get KPREP accredited,
you will be graduating from a KPREP university.
It just matters when you graduate, not when it starts.
We are very confident that it's going to get approved, but
That's what I heard.
just want to put it out there.
Thank you. Thanks for
Yeah,
sharing.
of course. Anyone else? There was another hand about KPREP. Oh, she got it. Okay. Yeah. So I think that's.
Anyone have any other questions about anything? nothing below this, let's say I have amazing references, a ton of experience, but somehow my calculator says, let's say I'm at 2.9. That's like, no, try again.
I would say to apply because that was my GPA. When I was at a 2.99, whatever. I was at a 3.0.
Oh, okay.
I'm in the program. So.
Okay.
And you have the experience of your references, so that's what I did.
Are there opportunities to get help with hours later on in the program?
It helps with hours?
Yeah, to, with different program, you help place or whatever?
Oh, like being placed at like a site?
Yeah.
Yeah. So your practicum is placed for you. You pick, like they're selected, and there's a professor on site with you. And your field study, there's a list of people, and they get there, and it's not a problem. There's more than enough people that want interns. There's not enough interns, so that's not a problem. I promise.
Because we are out of time, so I'm gonna show you this website. So when you click this link, and actually you can just go to our College of Education website, and I'll click this link. Here, like it says how to apply graduate and professional studies where we are located in, and you go down here to supplement application instructions. You need to click it and read this from the beginning. And at the end, please read them like word by word, yeah. And then at the end, there will be a link that you can click. So supplemental applications. So this is what where you upload every material that we mentioned.
Is that the letter of recommendation in there?
No, letter of recommendation is actually a different, separate form. So you may click this form. And this is where you do request a letter of recommendation. But it's a separate form. Questions?
Yes. When you showed us the application guidelines, all the way in the bottom it gives us a list of requirements. It says letter of appointment and self-assessment. Is that required?
No.
Okay.
And it's different by, so it's all about like information for many other programs in graduate professional studies. So that's why, but there's a table there that shows like what is required for our program. So that's why please read word by word about this guideline. Yeah.
Sorry. I have two questions. Once this whole program is said and done, generally, how much does the cost end up being?
It's $4,300 per semester.
Okay.
For full-time, for tuition.
So that's.
It's what? Per semester. Yeah.
Okay. And my other question is, if we get the interview and then we get a writing sample, are there options if we need accommodations with writing?
Of course, always, yes.
If you don't have professional experience, what do you do in residency? Most of your experience is not.
Unpaid, I mean, do you have like volunteer experience or that's applicable?
For education.
Your work experience.
Even though it's not quite relevant to counseling, that you've never been a counselor.
Chances are you work with people at some point, right? Yeah.
Would you not get paid on unpaid volunteer experiences, like class studies? No, that's fine.
Any other questions? It's just teaching my year, no summers.
Right, no summers.
Yeah, as of right now, we do not offer summer courses. I'm not sure if we're gonna move forward with that, but as of right now, no. And that kind of just helps to keep you in the cohort sequence as well.
Question, Doctor?
I have a printout for like that I printed out for us also hand deliver or mail the copy of recommendations with the cover sheet? Is that not a thing anymore? No. No, okay. So mine's just old then, like an older version of it? Okay.
Everything's online for it.
And then, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this earlier. So for you that mentioned that you like a hard copy, I would, you may be able to print out the application. You might be able to save it and print it out, because you said a hard copy. That might be an option, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't rule it out.
Is the application similar to what was last year? Like, if we can't find a new one, just if we search for a previous year application and try to use that one? No.
I wouldn't recommend that, just in case there's something that is a little bit better, I would, yeah, I would.
The school PowerPoint you said was gonna be online for that tonight, right?
It'll take a few days. We'll request our IRT with the
Okay, so thank you.
Thank you for your interest in our program and thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us before you leave. Thank you again.
Thank you.